Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Happy Thursday. I hope you're all doing well. And thank you so much for joining me today. My name is Kristie, if you have not been on one of my webinars before. And this is our Agent Secrets Hour. This is where we are going to dedicate 60 minutes to teaching you, training you how to be better marketers, how to really emphasize the importance of marketing in your real estate business and show you some things that we can do to help. Okay, because that's what we're here for. We're here not only to educate, but also to help you execute and implement. That's a big, big part of what we do. So I'm going to start by just doing a quick little recap. Last session, we covered our local authority blueprint. So if you were on that, we really dug deep into how you can present yourself as a local expert to your market. And a lot of that has to be done through marketing, through the communication that you send out to your database, to the way that you create your content, the type of content that you create. This is like, there's a lot that we covered in that particular session that you may want to go back and review. Maybe I'll ask Rob or Sobia, who are with us today, to share a link to that. We've uploaded that video onto our blog, and you can go in there and take a look at it just to refresh your memory. But there really was some very useful information in there. But today, what we're going to do is we're going to get a little bit more into the implementation side of things and take a look at how agents are doing this, right? I know that a lot of the concepts that we talk about may seem complicated, or it may seem like a lot of work, or you're not quite sure how to execute some of these things. I'm going to show you it's not that complicated. It's not that hard to execute, but you do need a plan. And if you've got someone to help you get it done, that obviously is a huge benefit. So today we're going to be looking at the referral multiplication system. So this is turning local authority into consistent business. I talk a lot about consistency and the importance of being consistent. Some of you are kind of stop and starters, or starters and stoppers, and you try one thing and it, you don't get to see immediate results, and then you move on to something else, or another shiny object, crosses your path. And there's a lot of that, right? There's a lot of shiny objects out there. So I like to I probably almost dwell on it too much, but consistency is a big thing when it comes to making these things work. If you can be consistent for months, years, I mean, that's when often you really start to see all of the fruits of your labor sort of come to fruition. So let's just get started with what the big problem that many of you are facing right now is. You are still struggling to get referrals, right? Probably a good chunk of you, maybe 70% at least, struggle to get those consistent referrals. And it's not because you didn't do a good job, right? It's not because the people that you worked with were unhappy. It's just you're not top of mind, right? When they are making their referrals, when they are talking to their neighbor or their family or their friend about who's a good realtor, they just may not be thinking about you because you're just not top of mind. Or maybe the information that you're putting out is too generic. So a big part of this system is not being generic, specializing, and making sure that everything that you put out, every piece of content that you put out there, is going to position you as a local expert. Okay, now, for those of you who have been with Success Website for many years, you know me, you know what we do. For those of you who have not, we have been working with real estate agents for over 20 years, and specifically on marketing, lead generation, lead follow-up, content marketing. We've developed a CRM. We have a content marketing platform. We do ad management. We've definitely, I'd say, become experts in this field. And for me, I've always been in charge of teaching and training and supporting our clients on how to be better marketers. So I have a very in-depth knowledge, not only of all the challenges that my clients face, but what works to help them and how to make these things work. So it's that intersection between real estate and marketing that's really my jam. That's where I feel very comfortable. So let's just get into the topic of today. And I will also encourage you, if you do want to reach out to me, my email is right here, Kristie@successwebsite.com. You can also visit our site, learn more about what we do. If you want to book a demo, you can go right there and do that. That is successwebsite.com. Okay, so not last week, 2 weeks ago, when we did part one of this, we went through the local authority blueprint. And that was a 90-day blueprint, how to systematically multiply your referrals using local expert positioning that you've built. Now, I know agents who have definitely gone from maybe 2 referrals a year to 2 referrals a month using these systems. But there are steps, there are strategies that we need to follow. So the first pillar that we went through was hyper-local content. And this is mapping out what a 6-month content calendar would look like for you. What are those locations that you really want to be known for, like known as a local expert in? And is there perhaps a niche, or maybe like if you do a lot of seminars for first-time home buyers, like why not lean into that? Be that first-time home buyer expert. Or if you work with a lot of seniors, or if you work with a lot of new construction properties, or maybe condos are your thing, right? Pick a location and maybe pick a niche that you want to just be that expert in, and let's create some content around that. Pillar 2 was strategic visibility and positioning. So that is identifying where is your target audience, obviously locally, because that's where you are. But are there Facebook groups that you need to start targeting? Is there perhaps maybe a chamber of commerce that you want to sort of get into and start positioning with? Maybe there's local publications that you want to be more visible on. Start thinking about where you want to be visible and make sure that you are there. Community integration, that really comes down to trying to participate in the community, find activities, find events where you can be seen and participate. And then systematic referral activation, asking for the referrals, okay? Integrating that into your marketing in a way that is not obnoxious, it doesn't seem desperate, but you're giving people an easy way, right? A really easy way to share your content, your message, and of course, be top of mind so they can easily refer you when the time comes that they are going to do that. So that was just a quick recap, right, of what we went through last week. I also want to remind you that 88% of buyers would recommend their agent, yet most agents struggle for referrals. Why is that, right? Why is it that most of your clients would recommend you, but most agents are struggling for referrals? It is that top of mind problem, right? You just aren't you're not in front of them enough, and you're too generic. It's not enough to be sending out market stats every month. Okay, that's what every agent does. There's nothing specific about that, right? It's very generic. There's nothing special about giving people property updates every day, right? A lot of agents are doing that. So having local authority means sharing your knowledge, sharing your expertise. That's not general. Okay, that is very specific. And that's what builds trust. So more than half of US consumers think trust and familiarity have become more important factors when choosing a real estate agent. I think that's absolutely true. I think that's true in most cases. I think it's more true than ever because everybody has a ton of choices, right? So if you trust something, you're way more likely to not only choose that, but you're more likely to trust that they will take care of whoever you refer them to. So here's an interesting stat. Only 11% of people felt like they could completely trust a real estate agent, okay? Yet buyers and sellers place monetary value on the expertise and negotiation skills of real estate agents. They know that you have a lot of skills to bring to the table. They value those skills, but the trust is just not there. Why is that? Why is that? Well, I've talked to a lot of agents about this, some who have really kind of gotten their stuff together when it comes to building their referral business. And they said, because agents, they're just they can come across as being too transactional, right? It's not going to build trust when all you're doing is asking people if you could buy or sell their home, right? That's not really going to give somebody value. Saying, I'm a real estate agent, why don't I just come and sell your house, right? I'm an agent. Why don't you just hire me and I'll show you some homes? Like it's just not going to do the job when it comes to building trust. So this is, again, all about messaging, all about communication, all about positioning. And they need you, right? People need you for this monumental task, this big event that happens in their life. But they have a lot of choices. And usually it's the agent that either someone else they know trusts and refers to them, or somehow that agent has done a very good job of building trust without that referral system. And that's hopefully what I'm getting through to everyone, is that there are ways to do that. And a lot of it comes down to persistent and consistent messaging and content building. So what does this mean for your referrals and increasing the number of referrals that you get? So we know that people only refer agents they completely trust. Trust has to be earned through demonstrated local expertise, and generic agents are going to struggle to build the deep trust needed for referrals. Okay. So are you guys ready to assess yourselves here? Okay, I'm going to ask some questions, and I think you all should. I mean, feel free to enter stuff into the chat, but listen to these questions and see if you are referral ready right now. So the 7 fatal flaws that kill referral potential. Generic positioning problem. I keep saying this, don't be a generic agent. Position yourself as a full service realtor. You're helping buyers and sellers. Having a clear local expertise and specialization. Because people, at the end of the day, they're not going to refer generalists. They refer specialists, okay? Don't be a generalist, be a specialist. And generic positioning, I mean, you can't even really call it positioning, but it just increases the likelihood that you're going to be forgettable and replaceable. When someone asks for a referral, you don't want to blend in with every other agent, right? There should be a compelling reason to choose you over any other agent. So what you've done to help people, the memories they have about what you did, the services that you provide, the way that you helped them, And having that information, easy to find. Maybe it's part of a tagline, right? I know that a lot of you offer unique selling propositions and guarantees and things like that. Like, that's great. I mean, that needs to be part of how you present yourself. So when someone is talking to their friend or their neighbor about hiring a real estate agent, you want to be, if you're thinking about that reticular activator, you want someone to automatically think about this specialized expert that they worked with, right? You have to use Sarah. She's the downtown condo expert, right? Or you have to use Steve. He was able to identify like the best neighborhood for me and my family to move to. Like, that's the kind of dialogue you want people to be having with other people in their minds when they talk about you. So it's really important not to be generic. Choose 2 or 3 neighborhoods that you want to specialize in. Position yourself as the expert for those areas, and then create content that demonstrates a deep local knowledge and understanding of those areas. Next, the satisfaction versus referral disconnect. So assuming that clients will automatically refer you without understanding that satisfaction and referral behavior are completely different psychological states. So the research has shown, as I mentioned before, 88% of clients say they'd recommend their agent, but only 21% of typical agent business comes from referrals. So the massive gap there is the satisfaction versus the referral disconnect. A lot of people that you've worked with, we're satisfied. You did a good job. We're satisfied. Like, got our house sold. We bought a house. It's great. So why doesn't that satisfaction equal referrals? So think of satisfaction. They did their job well. Okay, can't say anything bad. They did their job well. Now, referral motivation. They exceeded expectations, and I want to help them succeed, right? So when somebody is sending you a referral, it's genuinely because they do want to see you succeed, because they believe in what you do. It's a pretty heavy, we keep going back to the word trust. Like, I would say it's a pretty significant sign that that person really reveres what you do and wants you to succeed. So just being satisfactory probably isn't going to get you more referrals, but being exceptional, exceeding expectations, that absolutely will. So how do you do that? Obviously, getting good reviews, getting clients to say, you helped me so much with this and with that. Giving them experiences, right? Going above and beyond to give your clients amazing experiences, and really just telling them like what's happening, what are you planning to do, how are you going to help them. You can't over communicate when you're working with people. So make sure that you're giving your clients some memorable experiences that they can share. Okay. I have a quick story, and this isn't a real estate client, but it has to do with a home service company that fixes skylights. So a friend of mine, he had a company come in, give him a quote. They got the work done, but at the end of the job, somebody showed up at their door with a big box of chocolates and a survey, right, to make sure that they did the job properly. And I think maybe, there was maybe an issue or he had a question about something. They came in, fixed it right away. But just the fact that they showed up after the job was done, after the check went through, payment was made, and they just made sure that the job was done properly and they offered a gift. Like that is the kind of memorable experience that is going to absolutely get my friend to pass on their card and say, this is a great company. This is what they did. So try to create those shareable moments and repeat them. They shouldn't be one-off things, right? This should just be built into the process. And maybe it's giving a gift. I don't know. Maybe it's showing up during moving day with some coffee and some donuts. Maybe it's helping them with their downsizing, right? Getting them set up with somebody who can help them, pack up their home, or like these are all things that you guys probably are already doing. But think about it. Think about how you can continue to do that and make those clients, they just make it impossible for them to forget you. Okay. Number 3, the invisible expert problem. You don't want to be invisible. Many of you are experts. I know you are. Problem is, general public or people in your neighborhood just don't. They just don't know. So if you are genuinely a local expert, but you're failing to demonstrate it in a memorable way, during transactions, right? Obviously, you want to do this during the transaction period or during the life cycle of working with a client. So make sure that clients or people that you're working with know how much expertise you actually have. If your knowledge seems sort of like basic agent stuff, it's not memorable. So solve problems, but don't explain your expertise. In doing so, provide insights, but don't highlight why other people wouldn't know this. You just have to demonstrate that you have a very deep local knowledge, but don't just do it internally, right? This is where the content marketing comes into play. We don't want you to be invisible. So we want you to be able to get in front of more people, demonstrate your expertise, and be comfortable talking to people about it, but also be very comfortable sending it out en masse and letting people know where your expertise is. So when people are receiving that information, they'll know right away, okay, this guy specializes in this area, he knows this, maybe he can fix my problem that sounds very similar to what this problem is. And here's a quick example. Let's say you've got a newsletter, and that newsletter obviously has some market stats and things like that. Well, maybe you want to have an article that is specifically on certain neighborhoods, or maybe you've got a neighborhood that there's a drainage issue, from the 1970s, and you want to explain how the city is working to rectify that issue. Or maybe you want to explain certain areas and what's happening in them and highlight how this is going to affect people in that neighborhood. Or even better, explain how your buyer or seller had a very specific problem with their home, and this is what you did to help. This is what you did to help solve that problem. Even better, having that person write it in a testimonial and having that displayed on your website is extremely effective as well. And then number 4, the transaction-focused mindset. So treating each client interaction as a single transaction instead of the beginning of a long-term referral relationship. These are not one-time clients, right? These are forever clients, and you want people to remember you for many, many years. So think of it as a relationship, one that does not end when the transaction closes. Just thinking simple terms about a database, right? You all have a database, you all have a CRM, I'm guessing. How many of you have actually created a segment of people that you have worked with, of past clients? And is there anything that you are doing to make sure you maintain that relationship with those past clients? And if the answer is no, well, very simple. You can go back, I don't know, a couple years, right? Probably wouldn't take that long to identify who your past clients were, make sure you tag them in your CRM, and start to think about how you want to communicate with these people on a regular basis. Or better yet, include them in your local content marketing expert communication. Make sure you stay in front of them. Make sure you put in events into your CRM, like anniversaries, birthdays. Demonstrate that you see them as part of your community and as a long-term relationship, not a single transaction. And okay, so number 5, the fear of asking. So this is I hear this a lot. People just don't feel comfortable asking for referrals. It seems uncomfortable, it seems pushy. The reality is that you're letting a lot of opportunities pass by without activation. So you do need a clear call to action. Okay. One of the things I'm going to show you once we're done with this is a referral monthly newsletter. So it's a newsletter that you can put out every month that does have the referral ask embedded into it, but it also is tied to a local charity and a worthy cause that you can tie into your ask. So, for every referral, we donate a certain amount to the Children's Wish Foundation. A lot of agents do that. They do a lot of giving back to their community. So make sure that you have something built into your communications, your newsletter, your email signature, maybe on your business card, whatever it is. Don't be afraid to ask, but you have to do it in the right way. Also, when you are working with somebody and they're sort of at the height of their satisfaction, like let's say it's closing day, or they've they just sold their house, that is a great time to ask, right? Who do you know who's looking to buy or sell in the downtown area? Like, do you have any friends who are thinking of maybe selling their condo and moving to a bigger home? And be value focused. I'd really love to help your friends with the same level of local expertise that I helped you. So these are things that you can automatically build in to your process. Number 6, the social proof shortage. So make sure that you're constantly getting more reviews, building up your Google business page, building up all of the places where people might find more information on you. Having specific testimonials about your local expertise can go a really long way, and also help you gain a lot more confidence and trust in your local neighborhood. And then finally, number 7, the generic communication trap. So using the same generic real estate communication every month, not updating it, not having a content marketing plan, all of these things, right, are just, you're falling into that generic communication gap. You do not want to be a generic agent. So here's a good example of somebody that we work with quite closely, George Lormer. He's out in San Diego, and he puts out a lot of content constantly. He's sending out emails, he's doing newsletters, he's doing video, and everything that he puts out is very specific. And the goal is to position him as a local expert. So how long will it take? what is the optimal time to sell your home in San Diego? It's essentially a Q&A. So this type of content works extremely, extremely well. But it's also very important to identify your biggest source for referrals. Now, this is what we call the golden circle. So of course, in the center, we've got past clients, got a larger area, which would be your sphere. So these would be people in your market, or maybe you've had a conversation with, maybe, not necessarily past clients, but people who know you, and then professional network. So this is the group that you need to identify, and then make sure that we have systematic touch points so that we're just reinforcing your expertise to those groups. So basically, going back to this, we want to have these people segmented, and we want to have communication for each one. And that all has to be non-generic communication. So value first, really making sure that you're leveraging your local expertise, getting the strategic partnerships with other experts in your community. So building a referral exchange protocol is very important. So what I'm going to do now, actually, I am going to, I'll just show you the last step here. 5, follow-up and optimization system. So I'm going to switch my screen for a bit because I want to show you guys some examples of how this works and what we're doing with clients. And I also want to give you some tips on how you can be doing this yourself, and then also some ways that you can have us do it for you. So I'm going to switch my screen here and maybe take a quick look at the chat. See if there are any questions. Do not see that. There are. Okay. Of course, if you do have any questions, please let me know. Happy to answer those for you. All right. So here's an example of a 6-month content calendar. Now, the way this was created is I had a very specific prompt that started out like this. So I'm using Claude. Let me just make sure I'm showing the right thing here. Yeah. So this is Claude. I believe Anthropic does this one. Of course, there's ChatGPT, there's Gemini, there's all sorts of language learning models that you can use. I'm not necessarily recommending any one. I do like Claude, though. I find it to be particularly helpful for marketing type tasks. So this is my prompt. You are a local real estate expert in the Peel region with a focused expertise in residential real estate. So of course, this area could be your area or group of areas. Focused expertise in this case, let me get out of that. Residential real estate. Of course, that could be waterfront, that could be cottage or recreational homes or timeshares, whatever it is, okay? Pick a local expertise. Your goal is to create a 6-month content calendar strategy that consists of 2 blog posts and 1 newsletter per month. Content calendar will start month 1. Also includes following types of hyper-local content for areas in and around your area. So neighborhood, market, and micro reports, local lifestyle and amenity guides, historical context. So basically I'd like to have a variety of content. I don't want it all to be about neighborhoods. I want it to be about lifestyle. I want to have some historical context. Like, to me, this gives me a nice variety of content that we can work with for the next 6 months. And the beautiful thing is it goes ahead and creates a 6-month marketing strategy. So this is what we've got to start with. Okay, this is not a finished product, but this is definitely what we have to start with. So I like to present these ideas as a starting point and take these ideas and create content around them. So here we have month one. We've got our 2 blog posts. First one would be back to school season. A lot of people are thinking about that. Best family neighborhoods in Peel Region. Blog post 2, that would go out 2 weeks later. Late summer market pulse, Peel Region inventory and pricing. So that gets into the different areas within Peel Region. And then we have our newsletter. So every month, the idea is we're putting out at least 3 pieces of content. We've got our blog that's going to go out week 1. Then we got our newsletter that will probably go out maybe midweek or mid-month. And then we've got another blog post that would go out 2 weeks later. So that's where the consistency comes in, right? We want to make sure that we have it all mapped out. We're not creating these things every other week. It's all mapped out and ready to go. So this blog post here, we actually did create that. It's right here for this client. So this was created by our team, put it in there, create an image for them. So that's all there, right? Ready for people to view on his blog. And what is great about blog content as well, it's very easy for search engines to index that content. They, the way the blogs are structured make it really easy and simple for even things like AI tools, right, are now starting to obviously index the internet and find information. So having this information in your blog is really helpful. So if you have a website that has a blog and you're not posting on it regularly, you are missing out on an opportunity there. And this is what we would do for you, right? So we post this, but that's not good enough, right? We want to make sure that people actually are going to see it and get to it. So that's where the CRM comes into play. So what we do as part of the service is we create the article. Well, first we create the content calendar for you. Then we create the blog post. Then we create an email template. Okay, and the purpose of this email template is to send out to your database on your behalf. Okay, this comes from your email on your behalf. Every 2 weeks, okay, you'll be sending something out to your database. Raise your hand if you are currently doing that. If you are currently creating content every 2 weeks and sending it out to your database. Because if you are, good for you. But I know that that's a tall order for many people. So this is all ready to go. And this will link to the blog and go out to your database. Now, as far as the newsletter goes, that also goes out every month. But what we do is we help you customize it, right? So again, we want to get away from that generic style content and be very hyper local and hyper focused on your market. So I do like to have some, we were talking about kind of having the baked in referral system onto your regular marketing. Something like this on a newsletter can really help because you are asking for a referral. You're asking for somebody to refer someone over to you, but you're also explaining why this is a good thing to do and how it helps your worthy cause. Okay, so this is this certainly has done a lot to raise money for this worthy cause, and I know this agent feels really good about it, so he's happy to ask for referrals. I mean, it's a win-win. It's a win for him, it's a win for the charity, and people are usually quite comfortable and happy to do it. We can incorporate video into your newsletter, right? So if you've got a video, which I strongly encourage, when we talk about content marketing, video is a huge part of that, right? We want to make sure that we're utilizing all of the tools at our disposal, And if you are creating video, you got to make sure you're sharing it. If you're not creating video, it's a good idea to try, try to get some video onto your YouTube channel and start using that as a way to gain trust and awareness. But if you don't have it, that's fine, right? Unfortunately, we can create some video for you, but we can't, well, who knows? Maybe we could create an AI avatar for you and put out some video. That might be the next service that we offer. But if you do have video, certainly a good idea to incorporate it in. Of course, stats. This is the one part that actually does require you to provide us with updated stats, because we want to make sure that those are there if you want them there. But we also like to include reports, so educational content for your reports. We love to include listings, of course, this week's best buys. Why not curate a hot list of homes that you think are going to be the best buys in your area? Let's put that on the newsletter. So a lot of this information is dynamic. Like, these listings are going to change every week based on the criteria. Obviously, the market stats, we have to change. But what will also dynamically change is these articles. So we will produce a monthly newsletter article or content for you, and this gets updated without you having to do anything every month. So this newsletter should be set to go out to your leads every single month, no matter what. And then the next step would be, of course, to go back to our content calendar, create our second blog post, and keep going, right? So this strategy can go a long way to helping you build that reputation. Email is still a very effective way to reach people and to remarket to your audience. So use email, right? If you got a CRM, use the email features that you have available in there. And the lovely thing is, when people click on it, when they come back to the website, that all gets tracked, right? You know that these people are coming back to view your content. Another thing that we like to do is utilize the web push. So I'm just going to quickly go into our blog here. So this little section here is called web push. Now, this is essentially where you're sharing your content. Maybe we can see a little bit here. You might be able to see it in the bottom corner. But a web push is like a web alert. So you may notice on your computer sometimes little alerts fly onto your screen and catch your eye. This is what that is, where we would, when people come to your site and they subscribe to receive the web alerts, we could be pushing these messages out to them as well. So it's just another great way to stay in front of your audience. You could share these posts on your social media, of course, right? Make sure that you link over to your blog posts and share your best family neighborhoods in the Peel region, back to school season. That's the type of content that people are going to want to see. And that's the type of content that they're likely to share as well. So that's kind of a quick overview of what we do. And if this is something that you're interested in, you can find out more by going to successwebsite.com / oh no, that's not the right way. It's successwebsite.com special offer. No, it's, you know what? I'm having a hard time. Content accelerator. There we go. Had so many different links in my head the last couple hours. So the content accelerator, and I'll get Rob to share this as well. This is essentially what we're talking about here. So you can start ranking locally, just $49 a month. I know that some of you have already opted into it, which is great. We've already got you started. We're well into August. Going to have some content going out, so that's all great. But for those of you who haven't, it's still mid-August, so we can get started, get that content going right away, and not get too far behind on what our 6-month plan is. So check that out. It is a really good deal for the amount of work that we are putting in to get it done. And hopefully that will help you reach your goals of becoming a local expert in your market. Another thing that I want to share with you all, and this is a sneak peek, referrably. So when we talk about creating a professional network, referrably is it's a new program, a new application that we've been working on here at Success Website. And it is designed to get you more referrals, but it's also designed to help you become a trusted expert in your market and build networks that you can leverage and you can get more referrals from. And a lot of this has to do with connecting with other local businesses. So as a realtor, you are automatically a networker, right? You probably have a dozen or so key business partners that you work with, maybe a lender, maybe a title company, maybe a lawyer, maybe a moving company, landscapers, right? I mean, I'm sure that you all have a pretty decent Rolodex of vendors and businesses that you work with. And I'm sure that you send them quite a bit of business. But wouldn't it be great if they had an easy way to send you referrals as well? How could you stay top of mind in front of those businesses? A big part of where a lot of referral systems break down is the communication. It's hard to have that consistent communication where you're checking in with people regularly. And if you're not doing that, right? If you've got people in your network here and you're like, oh, you know what? He was a great mortgage broker and he really helped that one client, but I haven't talked to him in like 8 months. So, maybe I should reach out. Maybe we need to go get a coffee or have a chat. Having these people in front of you and being reminded to communicate and to reach out is going to go a long way to increase the likelihood that you will continue to have that reciprocal relationship where they're top of mind for you, you're top of mind for them. You're able to send referrals back and forth really easily. You can present this to your clients and say, I've got this really great network of trusted vendors that I've worked with. You can go right to my referral network here, take a look, contact them. You can see all their offers here. So this is just a very easy way for you to set up a profitable referral network with your trusted partners and have that process a bit more systematized. Okay, it's not just you opening up your phone and trying to remember to give someone a call, or maybe something comes up and you think about that guy, but you're like, oh, I haven't talked to them in a while. Maybe I won't send them that referral. We don't want that. We want you to have a network of people that you can go to, send people to, and they have you in their network. And then the people that they, in turn, add to their network, they're going to show up as quality introductions for you. So it's another way for you to sort of expand who you have in your trusted network by the people you invite. So we're still accepting beta users for this. I know that some of you have gotten started with it. I just wanted to show you all what it looks like once you've started adding some trusted connections and partners to that network. So this is on referrably.net. You can go to that website, referrably.net. Let's just go there. Learn more about it here. And if you want to give it a try, then let me know. There is a button here to get started for free, but you can reach out to me personally and I'll walk you through it, right? Because you may need a little bit of onboard training to get started with it, but you guys, I always want to give you sort of a heads up on what's coming down the pike. Okay, well, I think that is probably it for today. We've kind of yeah, we're getting to the end of our time here. So thanks so much, everybody, for joining us. I hope that hope I gave you some good ideas, right? If anything, let's get that content calendar started. Let's get those blog posts set up for every 2 weeks. Let's get those emails going out to your database, and let's get in front of more people. Okay? You want to be top of mind. You want to be the expert in your market. All right. Thanks so much, everyone. Thank you, Sylvia. Thank you, Rob. We will be back with another Agent Secrets in 2 weeks. Have a great day, everyone.